Last time on Fables of Four.
Garder and Rael ventured to the Tower of Destiny, a foggy bergfried guarded by gargoyles, to help an enigmatic wizard with an exorcism. But as Garder went about the grounds searching for the entity, Rael had a tearful encounter with his former fiancée, and soon found himself coming face to face with the terrible Levon, the seductress who turned him into a goat. Will they be able to solve this mystery? Or will Rael be stuck as a goat forever? Find out now. Fredrich is frowning at the chessboard, debating on which of his two counterplays might get the most mileage. Schultz stands nearby, watching the skeletons across the yard hammer down rabbit fencing to protect the new garden. When the prince looks up, there is a gargoyle perched on the wall that wasn't there before, frozen in the act of blowing a raspberry. He scowls in response.
Schult,
Your Majesty.
Yes, my apologies, Schult. Hypothetically, in the very slim chance that I lose this best-of-3 chess bout with your master, what might she ask as a favor?
Taking a guess, I'd say either providing a rare and expensive magic component or writing some sort of endorsement for her.
Endorsement?
Indeed. The lady often takes commissions from nearby nobility. A letter of recommendation from a prince would go a long way for her.
Fredrich rubs his mouth. It was the smaller asks that always worried him the most.
How about yourself, Schult? How did you find yourself in the employ of such a woman, living amongst these stone imps?
My younger sister was taken by one of the many brothels in the region to pay off family debts. I tried to get her back by force, but...
The butler gestures to his scar. Fredrich nods solemnly.
I spotted the lady's request for a butler and applied. Despite my appearance and, lack of grace, she's offered me a 5-year contract. That was 4 years ago.
Is your sister out of the brothel?
Yes, my family is doing quite well now. Given their distance and my many tasks, I haven't been able to visit. Once my contract is over, I'll do just that.
Schultz speaks with a restrained fondness, both for his family and his employer.
Oh.
Fredrich mentally checks a box.
You know, I'm thinking of joining along in this demon hunt your lady has commissioned. Just to be altruistic, of course, not to curry favor.
Of course, Your Majesty.
If I were to go about a self-guided tour of the grounds, are there any places that are off limits?
Well, outside those specified by the lady, that shed is off limits.
He points to the small, dark shed behind the garden.
Might I inquire as to why?
Those are my living quarters. I simply cannot allow you in there, even if it deems me a suspect, sir.
Schultz's demeanor stiffens into something slightly guarded. Fredrich, with a little surprise, unchecks his mental box.
I see.
He leans forward and advances his rook. Rael, meanwhile, leans back uncomfortably. The goat man is in a posh conversation pit lined with plush cushions sunken in the middle of a carpeted room. Through the dim, colored candlelight, Levon is staring a hole into his soul.
So, have you seen Clover anywhere?
Who?
A cute goat girl about yay high, orange skirt and hair to her shoulders?
Ah, right. Your fiancée. She wandered herself back around to the clearing. Right now, she is waiting patiently for you to return, unaware that we are together. Just like old times,
There is a flash of cruel amusement in Levon's eyes.
Hey, I really am sorry about what happened.
You're apologizing to me?
I took advantage of you in a situation where I was supposed to be a professional. That was no way for a city planner to act with a contractor.
Levon blinks, then lets out a tickled laugh. When she raises one of her hands to her face, she is suddenly holding a glass of wine. and she sips it, smiling.
The misery in your eyes, it really does look good on you, Rael.
Oh,
Speaking of misery, I add that someone is asking around for me, using my true name. And then this someone blows up one of my madames and burns down a brothel. That does not make me feel good.
the last one was kind of an accident, sorry.
You have gotten my attention. Tell me what it is you are so enthusiastic about, s'il te plaît.
Oh, well, I was just wondering if I could, get my body back. And my mind, too. This whole being a goat thing hasn't been the best.
Levon purses her lips and thinks for a long moment.
Maybe.
Maybe?
There is a pesky storm god named Cord that I consider my nemesis. Since my last affair with you, I have gotten my revenge on him and destroyed his church. This has made me more powerful, but maybe not powerful enough to turn you back quite yet.
But you'd still be willing to change me back when you're strong enough?
Levon recrosses her legs and swirls her wine, smirking.
I am a devil, Rael. We typically avoid charity in favor of deals.
Rael's tiny and shy optimism fizzles out into cold dread.
Deals?
Oui. For instance, my true name. I told you it when I was very new in my devilry, and that was a mistake. Now, I can't have you going about saying it to everyone. That is just too risky. How can we make sure this won't be a problem anymore, mon chéri?
In the low light, Levon is very hard to read. All Rael can feel is her piercing pink glare and the stuffy warmth of the cushions, and he is well aware of just how dangerous she can be.
You don't have to do anything drastic. I can make a promise.
Calm down. I don't plan on hurting you physically. I am just showing you how a deal works. You have the power right now, so you state your terms.
Oh, well, I don't know. Maybe could I first go grab my buddy Garder?
This is a contract between two parties only. If you need help, I can advise you. Let's say, for example, our deal is you never speak of me again, and so long as you don't, the mental haze you always have is gone. What do you think?
You do that?
Oui, but if you mention me ever again, the haze comes back worse. Since you can neither read nor write, this will be a verbal agreement. Shall we make my example official?
Well, golly, sure. Wait, but then how will I find you again if I can't talk about you?
Zut alors. Rael, you are supposed to ask all of the questions before you agree. No take-backs now.
Oh, man.
But do not worry about it. I can find you when I am ready. Now that begs the question. What are you going to give me in exchange for turning you back?
Rael frowns. The mental haze is slowly clearing, but it's still mostly there. Even still, he has no material possessions to offer, and few useful talents outside of...
Hey, I know. I could give you Kung Fu lessons.
You'd really do that for me, Rael?
I'd love to. Is that our deal?
Absolutely not. That sounds stupid. And I already know how to torture people.
Kung Fu isn't about torturing people. It's about discipline. Looking in at yourself. Even when you fight, the goal is to defend yourself or others.
When I fight, the goal is to inflict as much suffering and lasting misery as possible.
Oh, wow.
Since you are still new to deals, we will take baby steps. There is something I need you to do, and in return, your top moves will turn back into hands. Then I will give you plenty of time to think about a better deal for the rest of your body.
Well, it depends on what you want me to do.
Très bien, you are learning. I want you to help your fiancée when the time comes. Soon, she is going to do something big, and if you help her, you get your hands. Aww, where has your eagerness run off to, mon chéri?
Do you know how Clover turned into a goat? Levon sits back in her pillows, savoring her wine and grinning perfectly at Rael.
You should ask her about it someday. The truth might surprise you.
When Rael returns to Clover, he doesn't bring it up, and they instead have a pensive, rather quiet picnic. In the kitchen of the Tower of Destiny, however, no one is eating. Garder is praying over his notes on the exorcism. Damon is reading a large tome, bound in grayed leather. Destiny is calculating how many gargoyles will be needed for her supply run.
5 is the lowest we can do, and that's more than half. Inconvenient.
She tucks the paper away for later.
So, Reverend, what have you got? Clearly, something in my office has you rattled.
You definitely dealing with a fiend up there. Seems like he likes your telescope.
I haven't used it in a while, so if that's all you need, that can be arranged.
Well, it's a devil, so I'd hesitate to make any sort of deals. The good news is, it's one of the lesser devils, so we probably have the capacity to deal with it. It's got ranged abilities. I'm just not sure if it's a homuncula, a chitin, or an azilith in the worst case.
You're good. How are you deducing this from just a quick glance in my study?
I had a spell up to see if it was fey or fiend. From there, I just listened to the type of fear I felt when it showed itself. Fear has a sort of flavor, and when you combine that with the lore you already know, it reveals a lot.
Cowardice honed into a sort of spirit barometer? Interesting.
Yeah, alright, thanks.
Damon, don't you think you could lend a helping hand in this investigation?
I am outsourcing my labor to build your garden, and in return, you will grow me the rest of the herbs I need for my spell. This already seems like an amicable arrangement.
But I am also allowing your pet to go about unapproached.
Damon pauses, then calmly closes his tome and looks at Destiny, raising an eyebrow.
He really is a lucky find. The prince. I'm jealous.
Are you not satisfied with your apprentice?
Clover might make a good apple loaf, but a nosy little goat simply doesn't compare to a towering himbo with political power.
Then I wish you good luck in your own huntings.
Finders keepers, is it? You know, there would be a wizard duel back in the day over disputes like these. Quite brutal ones, if I recall.
The two wizards size each other up. On her own, Destiny seems like a very difficult yet feasible opponent to defeat. But there is something about the potency and flexibility of her magic that leads Damon to think she has an advantage he hasn't accounted for.
Y'all ain't finna start blowing stuff up, are you? The good lady would not stoop to such archaic barbarism.
Damon opens his tome once more, and Destiny lets out a laugh.
Flattery as your defense? How refreshing. Well, now that I've had my fun, on to more serious business. I'm sure you have noticed my magic is different than most. That is because I have a boon. My many connections frequently lead me to those.
A boon?
The eye of the black dragon wormling.
Damon blanches, and Garder recoils.
Sourced ethically, Reverend.
I see why your divination in particular is so potent. You have a dragon piece, an eye, no less.
Of course. I wouldn't be giving you that, but I could possibly point you in the direction of a gilded skull that may serve as a powerful component for you.
With that, I would be able to summon spirits, not just skeletons.
Precisely. So lend us a hand in this investigation of ours.
Damon swivels around his tome so that it is facing Destiny and Garder.
Prolonged exposure to undead, and especially fiends, subjects a summoner to the power of the negative energy plane. Now, this devil may be here on his own accord, but if he is working for someone, there will be effects evident on their mind and body.
Wait, were you already researching this?
Of course.
Cheeky. So you believe a rival wizard is doing this? Or perhaps the regional lord? Not many know about the Dragon Eye.
It could be someone closer.
Clover and Shell? Or are you suggesting the gargoyles?
I'd have to agree, Damon. Of everybody here, I think only Destiny and maybe you have the power to summon a lesser devil.
I would not be so certain to guffaw at any potential suspects. Have either of your peons displayed signs of psychopathy, hysteria, or strange lacerations? This is typical of fiend summoning.
Clover has been acting strange lately, but it is the 1-year anniversary of her coming here, and we still don't have a solution for her, so being emotional makes sense. As for Schultz, his random scrapes are likely due to occasional bouts of clumsiness.
Damon clears his throat a little too loudly and glances at Garder. Garder understands his train of thought and gives a very subtle head shake.
Shall Schultz fetch you some water?
That would be much appreciated.
Destiny laughs, then claps twice. Schultz begins heading over from the yard.
I must admit, I have not been so entertained in such a long time. Maybe I should always do something like this, every once in a while.
The next day, the party finds themselves trudging through the morning fog towards the tower walls. With a good night's rest and a chance to prepare spells, they all seem a little more confident about the task ahead. Well, gentlemen, I think it's safe to say the demon is a tactic. What is the overall strategy at play here?
It is a devil, your majesty, and I think it was summoned by Destiny herself. Either that, or it is a ploy from her apprentice, Clover.
Fredrich and Rael recoil in surprise, but Garder looks unfazed.
I was figuring that was what you wanted to clue me in on yesterday.
Destiny's speech and attitude around the whole ordeal seem too amiable. All things considered, she should even have enough power to exorcise the devil on her own. She is at least allowing it to remain for some reason, likely because she finds all this fun.
I think I agree with that last part, but I don't think she summoned it. Just from the whole atmosphere of that study, I feel like the devil came there on his own. It doesn't feel like he's obeying nobody, at least nobody in that tower.
Have we considered the butler? When I interviewed him, he seemed quite guarded about his little shed near the tower. Perhaps he has his means of summoning hidden away inside. But then what would be his motive?
The butler is the only of the three without magical inclination, but it is still a possibility. The devil would need some sort of fetish or portal with which to sustain its connection. The shed could be a hiding place.
Any thoughts, Rael? I know you were off with your fiancé for most of yesterday.
I'm not quite sure what's going on, but I'm pretty sure Clover isn't summoning demons. Maybe we can just ask the guy today and get some answers.
The party knocks on the gate, and it is soon opened by Schultz. When they enter, it is clear that many of the gargoyles are gone.
Good morning, gentlemen. We have prepared a light breakfast.
Clover is waving from the front door of the tower, holding an apple loaf on a tray. As the group crosses the lawn, Damon releases his skeletons from his bag of holding, and they shamble over to the garden to continue working. A scream rings out from Destiny's study, then a boom strong enough to shake the whole tower. Schultz immediately takes off at a sprint, vaulting up the stairs and towards the study. The rest of the party and Clover follow quickly behind.
No! No!
The party enters the study to find it in utter disarray. Books and notes strewn about, a broken chair, a shattered telescope, and in the very center, Schultz kneels over Destiny. Dark red ooze dribbles from the wizard's mouth as she lies on the floor, motionless.
No!
Next time on Fables of Four. Now, I certainly would pose as a prime suspect.
Are we not allies, Damon? Have you no loyalty?
I cast you out in the name of the Divine Majesty.
It doesn't have to be this way.
I'm freaking out. I'm sorry.
You could search this entire tower for a millennium and you still wouldn't find it.
You halflings need to be taught a lesson about keeping true names a secret.
The mystery continues.
All right, welcome back to another Campfire Q&A, where you guys ask questions and I ask the characters for you. So we're gonna start off with you, Garder.
All right.
So this first question comes from Asid. Why are you a scaredy cat?
Excuse me?
Well, I'm assuming they heard that you were easily scared.
I know what a scaredy cat is. I know what a scaredy cat is. It's just,
Well,
I don't understand why I'm being called a scaredy cat.
I think the thing was that, you kind of, are scared by things.
All right, well, let's look at the things I'm afraid of. Deep, dark, dank dungeons, weird pits with bugs and centipedes in them, and demons and ghosts. Like, I don't understand why that makes me a scaredy cat. That seems like things people should be afraid of. Am I wrong?
No, yeah. How about we move on to the next question? All right, this one's also for you, Garder, from Brian H.
Better than that.
What's it like not having skin? Do you shed? What do you do with the shed scales? Do you eat them?
What is it like not having skin? Well, I don't really know. I've never had skin, so not quite sure how to answer that. Do I shed? Yes, I actually do shed. Since I'm a metallic dragonborn, we shed, as opposed to chromatic dragonborns that molt. Those usually, come off in the bath and whatnot. What do you do with the shed scales? I just rinse them off, I guess, and pour them out with the rest of the used bath water. And do I eat them? No. Maybe when I was little I used to, but no, not anymore.
All right. This last one's for you, Rael. Oh, okay, cool. This is from Eliana, who asks, why are you a pacifist? Well, first things first, the Kung Fu that I practice and sort of my philosophy around it is, it doesn't really teach you to go out and hurt others. When it comes to defense, it's just doing what you can to make sure everybody's safe. And when it comes to like fighting and stuff, I think, you shouldn't take it too far. You should just try to de-escalate. And really, I think, a lot of violence and hatred, that's just a lot of stress, man. Puts a lot of stress on you and the other person, and it's too much. So, I benefited from someone else's mercy, and I think showing mercy to others is really the way to go.
Wow.
Well, all right. Well said. Thanks, Rael. And with that will conclude our Campfire Q&A. Thank you guys so much. Make sure to leave your questions down in the comments below, and we can ask these guys some more questions. All right, fellas, I'll see you later.
That's preposterous.
Where am I? Thanks so much for the question, guys.